Our next guest, considered by many to be a front-runner for the Republican presidential nomination until he decided not to run, but he continues to be in the forefront of a number of critical issues as the governor of his state. Those issues include, of course, Obamacare, the deficit, unions, abortion, education. Joining us now, a very busy man, Governor of Indiana, Mitch Daniels. Governor, good to have you with us here.
Appreciate being invited.
Governor, let's start first with the debt and the deficit that is at impasse, at least right now in Washington, D.C. Do you see a clear path forward that would be helpful to the vice president-led discussions, to the confrontation between Speaker Boehner and President Obama?
The path forward couldn't be clearer. It's not clear that what's not clear is whether the administration is prepared to take any meaningful path at all. You know, the time's a waste in here. This is, as the president's own deficit commission leader said, the most predictable catastrophe we've ever faced, and yet they continue to act as though we could keep spending at these unnecessarily high levels indefinitely. So, yeah, I think that the suggestions that have been made so far, not a bad down payment, $1 of reduction over some period of years for every $1 of debt ceiling increase. That's a great starting point. Don't know why the administration won't take them up on it.
Governor, the issue of the debt ceiling itself, are you prepared to counsel your fellow Republicans in Congress and the Senate to hold the debt ceiling exactly where it is unless they can find agreement on that commensurate reduction in federal spending? Well,
we're going to have to pay our debts. Everybody, I think, agrees with that. But, I really think that it's unconscionable for the Obama administration to be holding this thing hostage because they refuse to get serious about spending reductions that everyone knows must happen. And we are facing terrifying deficits and consequent debt levels, the kind that are bringing other countries right now to a screeching halt. The American dream's at risk right now, and really they should be leading as opposed to fighting at every step the quest to find meaningful, and I mean big, long-term spending reduction.
Big long-term spending reductions. There's not even agreement on that, and Vice President Biden, President Obama, both making it clear that so-called revenues will be an important part of the calculus in any solution that they stand behind. At least that's their position right now. Tax increases, would you support tax increases in any form?
We need more tax revenue, but there's only one place you're going to get it, and it's from a growing economy. If you had assigned a team of Nobel Prize winners to design an anti-jobs, anti-growth strategy for America right now, they couldn't have done much better than what this administration's doing. Constantly talking about higher tax rates, piling up enormous numbers of new regulations, those we already have seen and those that we know are coming. You were just talking about the other huge threat, which is the Obamacare bill, and all the disruption and extra cost and extra debt that it's going to bring to the system. So we need an absolute emergency program to kick this economy into higher gear. Today Indiana got its AAA credit rating reaffirmed. Our credit today is stronger than that of the government of the United States of America, if you can imagine such a thing. And yet, like many businesses, we are being very, very cautious. We are not going to spend one nickel we don't have to, because I don't trust this economy or the administration's policies to get into the kind of high gear that we have to have if we're going to pay our bills.
Well, but at the same time, I wouldn't want anybody to get the idea that Indiana isn't moving smartly ahead. You're investing in infrastructure. You're driving forward with a new education plan. We talked with your superintendent of schools here within the last week. You are continuing to drive forward on a host of issues. How are you managing to do that when the rest of the country, much of the rest of the country, is lagging behind and struggling mightily?
Because we do it by realizing that it's the growth of the private sector as opposed to government on which all else depends, including government's own revenues, as we just discussed. And every single moment of every day, we are working to expand the opportunities, make Indiana the most inviting place in America for investment. Down the hall behind me, I have 60 major business people right now that we're thanking for the business they have brought to Indiana and the business they might bring. And, you know, I'd like to see our entire country go on a pro-growth footing like that. The irony is that the sincere believers in big government have the biggest stake of all in a private sector that really begins to grow. Otherwise, they'll never have the dollars to spend on the government they would like to have. One day, I guess they'll realize that.
Right now, you're pushing ahead on education. That is long-term investment in the future. Obviously, the residents and the citizens of Indiana. How long will it take before you see Indiana move from where it is currently in the, I would say, the upper middle, if you will, of the states in this country in educational quality? Where do you want to be? How long will it take you to get there?
Well, we want to not only be among the top tier in America, but the top tier in America is not good enough when you look at the rest of the world. And that's a great question. I don't know how long it will take. All I know is we've built, I think, the best framework I've seen in any state. From now on, teachers will be rewarded and protected and promoted and paid based on how well they do in the classroom, how well their students learn, not just by how long they have served. We will have much more choice available, charter schools within the public system, and even vouchers for every family that can't afford a non-government option if that's what they want. But, you know, I've said some harsh things about the President and the administration. Let me give credit here. Much of the reform we just brought, they have also championed nationally, and they deserve, I think, credit for that. But implementation is everything, and you know, just because we've passed great laws and have a great new framework in education doesn't mean our kids will learn, and in the end, that result is all that matters.
It is absolutely, as you say, all that matters in the end, and the measurement of those results also critical, and the measurement is just beginning. Your program 4 months old. We do give you credit for getting the process underway. Governor Mitch Daniels, good to see you. Thanks so much. Up next, yet another